Everyone is designed to worship. It's something that you're born to do. You know, the Father doesn't force us to worship him. We have a choice. The problem remains, though, that whether it's God or something else, we were made to worship. And whether we realize it or not, we need to put that energy somewhere. Every human on this earth wakes up in the morning and chooses to give their attention to something. The thing or things that we worship will occupy our thoughts, our time, our finances. It affects the choices that we make. What we worship makes us who we are. And the thing or things that we worship are crucial building blocks to our identities. The Bible says in Psalms 115, verse 4 through 8, "But their idols are silver and gold, made by human hands. They have mouths but cannot speak, eyes but cannot see. They have ears but cannot hear, noses but cannot smell. They have hands but cannot feel, feet but cannot walk, nor can they utter a sound with their throats. Those who make them will be like them, and so will all who trust in them." These verses are talking about nations that have turned away from God and have decided to worship other things. Things that have no power, things that are lifeless, things that have no chance at transforming you into who you're supposed to be. And what does the Bible say happens to the people who worship things like this? It says they become like them. They become void of true life, void of identity, anxious, and ultimately destined for something counter to God's design. I wish this was something that only happened in the Bible, that we would have figured it out by now. But we're doing the same thing today as we did back then. Most people wake up in the morning and the first thing they grab is a device to scroll through meaningless information in hopes that maybe it'll just give some comfort. They go throughout the day chasing a lifestyle that they think will fulfill them, but it won't. And at some point, they'll look back and realize that the kingdom they built has been made of sand, and it's easily going to fall down if it hasn't already. In Matthew 7:24 through 27, it says, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house in the rock. And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it didn't fall because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house in the sand. And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it." Church, what are you worshiping? Because that's what you're building your house on. Are you worshiping Christ, or are you worshiping the world? Just take a second to examine your thoughts and your actions, and you're gonna know. Are you anxious all the time? Do you struggle with identity? Do you give into every whim that comes your way? Overspending, addiction, gossip? Do you get easily angered? Or are you just generally unfulfilled? The Bible says that when we worship God, we become filled with His Spirit. And when we're filled with His Spirit, we gain love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. When we worship God, we will gain an identity that is rock solid, an identity that is rooted in the love and power of Jesus Christ. The Bible says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." Everyone struggles with the pull to worship other things. Together, let's make a choice to worship our Creator and not the things He's created.